All right, I'm finally back. It's been a long time since I've made a video, so I'm just trying this out. I'm in a totally new office. I'm actually got a full-blown shop now. But anyway, I was on Facebook the other day, and somebody had posted a little sign that was really nice. It looked great, and but she had got it from a file, and I had posted one that I had just done. I'm going to use that name and kind of show you how I take anybody's name and or whatever they want on it, and I can stretch these letters and pull them to where they'll work inside these signs. You'll kind of see at the end um, what uh, what the sign looks like. I'll kind of post a picture of it in there. But so what I do is I go in there and obviously start out with just the name that I need, and it's going to be in Arial font or whatever you've got your set to. But then I take it and I change it. I like to use Vladimir font. Um, Vladimir seems to work the best because it's got the nice little swoops and everything with it, so you can kind of pull the letters together to where they look good on the sign. So you just go up here, you make sure yours is selected, and then fortunately it's called Vladimir, so it's way down here at the bottom. But we'll take that and turn it into that right there. So now I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see. And right now we're not welded. So each of these individual letters kind of cross over. So you want to make sure you weld all these letters together. So what you do is you just highlight your letters, highlight everything. But here's the deal. Once you weld it, you can't change the font or really anything else about it other than the shape. So you need to be ready whenever you go to weld. You need to be ready to go. Uh, Make sure you've got your font in there. You've got it spelled correctly, all that stuff. Because if not, you'll have to completely start over. So just right click and hit weld, and then that takes all those little deals out of there. So if we back up, oh, let's see here. If we back up, you can see that we've got the crossover, but as soon as we click weld, all that goes away. So now what I do is I want to put it together on my sign. Most of my signs are 12 by 12 or real close to it because my boards are 11.875 is what I've measured them out to be. So I'm going to make the circle out to be 11.875 because I can get it inside the laser just perfectly. So we'll just change that to 11.875, make that bigger. We'll scroll out here so we can see again. Oh, just accidentally moved everything. Need to grab it all, pull it all in here in the middle. Then this is my outside of my ring for my sign. So now I need to make an interior ring. The easiest way to do that is just go here to offset, hit an internal offset, and I make it 0.25 inches. And that gives me a perfectly good ring right there. So I'm going to apply that. And so that's my ring, but they're still separated. So what I want to do there is I want to go and make it a compound path. Once I make it a compound path, it's a full ring. So now I need to set up my name as to how I want it to fit in there, or how I want it to look on the sign more than anything, not how it fits. But you can do it like like that. You really want it to touch. This sign I actually didn't make it touch, but I'm going to show you how to do it if you were to do it that way. Um, so you'll grab everything and you'll just want to put it somewhere to where it just barely kind of touches. And if you really want to make it strong, you could even pull it up to where this part touches this part of the A. And that way you've got a connection point here and you've got a connection point here. Um, this will still be able, people will still be able to tell it's a T. I don't really like that. I kind of like it where it's separated. So I'm just going to pull it to where it's just barely overlapping right here on the bottom of the A. And I think that will be just fine. And then what we want to do is we want to go one more time and we'll weld that together so that we don't move it. We want to get rid of these overlaps right here. So we'll just highlight everything and weld it. And now we've got that put together. Now the only problem is we've still got all this broken up. So to be able to get that all together, what I do is I edit the nodes. So we've got one over here that we need to edit. We've got the A that we need to pull into there. And then this R needs to pull over to here. So some names you have a lot, some names you don't have any. So you just kind of get the luck of the draw on that. So what I do is I come over here and you can just double click the lines to edit the nodes like that, or you can go up here, highlight what you need, and hit the node edit button, edit the points, and it'll pull it up as well. I like to do one at a time, so I just double click on the one I'm going to work on. And what I'm going to do is just grab the closest point to it and pull it over. And once I get that there, then I'm going to create a couple more points just to kind of give it a nice curve. See what looks the best here. We want to pull this one down. We just want to give it a kind of a good curve. And whatever looks good, that's kind of pointed right there. So we're gonna take this and turn it into a smooth. And then this here, kind of the same way, we want to pull it down a little bit more. And we're going to turn it, it's already a smooth, so we can just kind of use the handles to make it look just how we want it. Takes a little bit of practice, kind of get this, the way you like, but it's not too hard. We don't have to worry about any of this part because it's going to weld into the E. We just want to make sure that it looks good. So we might want to pull this up just a little bit, just to where it's kind of in the middle of this whole part right here. And then once that's done, we can see how it looks by grabbing these two and welding them together. All right, so that doesn't look great. It kind of looks bad actually. So we're going to double click it again, and then we can pull one of these points out just to see if we can make it look any better. Now remember, you're zoomed in, so it's going to look horrible here. Once you move out, it's probably not going to look, whoa, that's a little bad, but it's not going to look as bad once you zoom out. So don't spend a whole lot of time on it. Back out every once in a while and take a look, see what it looks like. But I'm going to pull this down just a little bit more. I think maybe stretch, oops. Maybe stretch this one out just a little bit where it gives it more round. I think that's right. There we go. So now we're good. Now we can come over here and move this A. We've got to get this A to touch the T so that they're connected. Like I said, you don't have to because you're going to be gluing it on a backboard. But while you're painting it and everything else, if these aren't connected, then they're kind of flopping in the wind while you're trying to get them painted and everything else, and they can break, which isn't the end of the world. I've glued them back together and they look just fine on the sign. But we're going to go ahead and do this one just to kind of show you real quick. We'll double click this line. We're just going to grab this, and you just want to kind of look at how it would look. How it would look the best if it was if you were drawing this out. So I just immediately grab this. Now what I also like to do is when these come to a sharp point, I'll just grab nodes and pull them out here like this so that we get a little better thickness right there. Then I'm just going to come out just a little bit, click off the node so I can see that looks pretty good right off the bat. It could be a little thicker right here. Maybe just like that. I think that looks pretty good. So we can go ahead and weld that. And then we'll come over here and move this R into the O. And we're just going to do the same thing. Just going to kind of pull it over, and I think it'll go right about there. We'll grab another node and just pull it out. And then just kind of shape this the way we want to. I think that's going to look pretty good right off the bat. All right. So we'll grab all that right there and then weld it. So now we've got our sign. It's all one piece. So if we click anywhere on it, it's all one piece. It all moves together. And that's exactly what we want. So what we'll do is now we just want to take and make it about the same size as our sign, or where we want our sign to be. What I like to do is just kind of center this. Grab your ring and your name. Go up here and just hit the center. And that way it puts it in the center. That way you can kind of see where it's going to be. And then I'll click this and just kind of pull it a little over that way. Pull it over that way. Maybe just a little bit more. Now I'm going to hit center it again. And then we're going to see where everything's landing. It looks like it's landing just a little bit of overlap there. And we've got a little bit of overlap here. Good enough. So now we can just weld all that together. So highlight all of it, click weld, and now we've got our sign. Now we can go in and put some color to it, see what it's going to look like. And we've got it, just like that. Very simple. It just takes a little bit of time, especially when you got a lot of these letters that need to be pulled over and touching. They can get really frustrating. Now, again, on the back of your sign, I'll just do this really quick. The back of your sign, you're going to have to create another circle and make it 11.875, 11.875. And this is a whole nother tutorial in itself on getting the music notes and stuff like that on there. You really have to have Photoshop so that you can, because Silhouette Studio is just not capable of pulling the notes itself out of the background. So you really need something like Photoshop or something like that, and be able to use it just a little bit to get those notes out and get them dark enough to where they're actually going to engrave and look nicely on here. I can see, let me see if I can find mine here. So I've got the cut file. Let's see if I pull it out here. Yeah. So I've already got my numbers there. So 5.7, we want to make this 11 point. Oh, it's not going to do it. So we'll just have to pull it up and make it a little bit bigger. It's not joined together, so, and I don't want it joined together. You want it separate for your laser cutter. So basically, when you first get these notes, they're not going to look that nice. A lot of these bars are going to be very, very light. So you just have to go in, pull it out of Photoshop, get it onto a separate layer, and then I usually take and just thicken up the lines. And you can Google how to thicken up lines, stuff like that in Photoshop. Google that. It's really easy, but it's a whole nother video. It would take 20 minutes to explain. So I wanted to get this part down. So if we take this, let's make this just to kind of show you what the sign looks like on its own. We'll just give it a wooden background, and then we'll move this to the front, and then just like that. So that's what the sign looks like, before you engrave it. I can I'll pull a picture over here real quick to show you what. Let's see, bring that up. That's what it looks like once it's engraved. So got my music notes in there. If you don't get those music notes right, they're really tough to see on the wood, especially if you stain it dark. They just kind of disappear. So it's worth it to spend a little bit of time just to get everything right. But other than that, that's how you do it. If anybody has any questions, you can definitely ask down in the comments there. But that's how I do everything. And yeah, I sell a lot of these. I usually sell them for $25 a piece. They take, two pieces of wood, which is a couple bucks, and then I might spend 30 minutes getting them ready, and then just your cut time. So there's not a whole lot of effort, and they sell really well. I've probably sold 20 of these so far. So, uh, and that's not even pushing them. It's just people see my Amazing Grace ones, and they kind of went wild over those. And next thing you know, I was doing names and how to train your dragon. So that's it. I'll let you guys go from here. If you have any questions, again, just post them down in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks.